I was scrolling around the internet and I came across this FZ09 website, and it was talking about somebody was asking if a bike was worth fixing, and they had quite a few detailed photos on it. And what got me thinking about this as I've been working on content for this MotoSmart laser is this is pretty common. What you see is you'll see, where people are asking, is this worth fixing? And there's actually like 19 comments on here. Some of these comments on here are actually really nice. They're wrote, well enough. But the reality of it is no one commenting here can tell you whether a motorcycle like this that's had this kind of impact is worth fixing. I mean, what this ultimately comes down to is what risk are you willing to take? Even a lot of shops are doing, repairs and then finding out that after a whole front end and a wheel and body work and everything else, that the bike doesn't handle right, or quote unquote something else is wrong. And I know I told a story in part one how I had bought a bike wrong one time just because there was no cracked paint, so I went ahead with it. But I'm going to show you another way. This is part two of the MotorSmart laser, where you can see how you can check for twist in the neck. Super awesome that you can literally take this measurement, whether you're doing it out of your shop or whether you're a professional shop and you want to have more more confirmation to give your customer on whether a bike is worth fixing like they're asking here. So let's jump into it, and you can see how this tool will work to check the twist in the neck stock of a motorcycle. This is probably the best couple $100 you'd ever spend if you, like I said, wrecked a bike, were looking to buy a wrecked bike, or you're a shop charging for these services. Let's get into it. I'm going to just take a quick video of the bike stock and look at some of the stuff we're working on. But we're going to go through this center point here. Yeah, it looks like we might have to take the handlebars off.
But we have to remove because the bike cannot hold that up there.
Get on it straight.
No, we have to remove it.
Yep. Okay, he's starting to make some progress here. Obviously, you got to get, handlebars clear, but he's going through the center of the bike here. And I use cones on both sides here. Okay, you can see it up there. Well, let's look at the front setup here that we already have here. So we have the shaft through the triple tree, as you can see here, and then the scale is sideways. Well, one point he made is obviously don't just try and throw these in here. One of the things you want to do is get under here and make sure that there's not a weld across there that's not going to allow you to center that up. So this is not going to work on every model in the world, but in this case here, where it was machined through on both sides, we had two good surfaces to be able to get cones on, and then we have our scale.
You only have to see the table or measurement plate. It must be in angle.
He's actually showing me what kind of detail goes in this when they manufacture. So these nuts that you could thread on if you didn't have a hole through, they literally surface grind those on this little lathe setup, so it's specific. But let's look at the finish up close on it. Go ahead and take that off. Like, actually see how this is. Oh yeah, you can see it. Let me get closer with the camera. You can actually see how that's surface ground.
So if you drop it, don't use any hole.
So you're being incredibly specific. And now you were actually we're having to use that. Thank goodness. It's kind of cool to use the accessories. He was making a point that when you take the nut off, you also want to look at the condition of the washer that it's going to go up against. Because if it were scarred from like a lock washer or something as well.
Some dust, lead, something like that. Okay, I'm bringing wrench here.
Okay.
To tighten it with about 50 Newton meters or something like that. Not totally, but you have to tie.
Okay. Say that one more time again, Chaba. I wasn't recording, so what were you saying about the welded frame and the jig?
So this frame is welded, so it means the base points, it's fitting in the welding jig. Then the welding is coming, and if you lose the parts from the jig, it's a little bit moving.
Right.
So for that reason, for the correct measurements, you have to be tightened about 50 Newton meters or something like that.
Whatever the torque spec, yeah, really is. Yeah, gotcha.
Can you see the other side is rotating?
what Chad was trying to do here, just using a wrench, is so he can slowly tighten it up. And we were hoping to capture on the video that you could actually see the frame like compressing and closing up on that gap as he tightened it real evenly with a wrench. But best use a torque wrench and look up the spec needed in your service manual.
Once I measured one motorcycle, and both wheel was about 0.4. It's impossible.
Right.
Again, and tightened it in 0.0.
Yeah. So matching that back to, knowing that you have to have torque specs makes sense. So what he's talking about basically is the frame, as you torque that down, compressing a little bit. There's a couple different reasons they do that. Sometimes it's built in if that tuned suspension, they say, or tuned frame and engine mounts. And then, that little gap too is really nice for installation when you're installing a swing arm and engine. So
also important things, this part is manufactured by tightening the thickness. So you have to a little bit tight the plastic screws to make it position.
Okay, we want that rigid.
So you see, about 8.
8? Okay.
Then we have to remove the plate. To the top.
Well, it's so simple. Dang, that's fast. I suppose if someone wanted to, if they're a high volume shop, they could buy a second one of these from you and then just have 2 of them.
It's about 10 and 2 divisions, which means 0.2, but it is written in the manual, so up to 5 it's okay, so it's acceptable.
So up to 5, and this one's only at 2. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is very simple and very important and useful check. So the frame is okay. You are able to measurement frame in the table. So you don't need to have a motorcycle completely. So if you are going to buy a frame itself, you can control it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I never even thought about that. I mean, you literally could check a frame itself, especially then you'd need the bigger cones, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you need those accessories like this.
Yes,
and then, man, I didn't even think of that. You literally could just check the frame.
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic. That is super cool. Hey, let's hit the brakes here for a second. It's hard in a 10-minute video to make you an expert on every possible scenario situation that you could come across, when inspecting frames. But one point I want to make is when we were talking about how you could check a frame up on, on the bench without the motor and without being in a fully assembled motorcycle. One thing I keep in mind is that, just like we said earlier, some of these frames are a stress member. So, if you're buying a frame from a, custom welder and you wanted to check it out or whatnot, or you're running over to eBay and picking something up, I'd recommend that you put some spacers and a bolt through that, swing arm mounting point, and then torque it to spec so that you could add that stress. Well, the challenge is going to be, though, is, how much is the frame supposed to flex and how much should it move? So some of those things are going to be some trial and error, but it's pretty cool that you have some options and a way to take some measurements. Look at this setup one more time. Like I said, get an idea in case you get one of these for yourself. You'll be able to see what all these accessories are. And Chaba, one thing I've noticed about you is like you're always continuously improving. Like you're always like, oh, let's tweak this, let's tweak that, because this laser is different than the one that I originally got. And the one that I originally got, you had to supply power and a cord and a USB, and it didn't bother me. Yes. But you made this one where it has its own batteries, and then you don't even need to plug it in, which just made it that much quicker.
Simpler, so that was the reason. So I'm an engineer, so I always thinking on technical things.
Right. But another point you made on this new one, because you know what people do. Like things work really well, and then us humans touch things, and we cause problems, right? And so one of the things we see right here is on this new one, where it uses just a very simple laser. The batteries are able to be changed from the bottom side. You can see the 2 bolts where this is sandwiched in here. Well, this is adjustable because he calibrates it on this magic little tool over here. You can see his calibration tool where he sets it up on here, puts the laser, puts the scale. And so don't mess with these, okay? If you loosen it or caused a problem, you would need to send it back in for calibration. But this is how you're making it good to go. You can see actually has a mirror on here on this side. He's going to go ahead and, just show quickly how, he's making sure that it has the ability. I saw it on there.
Okay, so we have to write back to the emitting point.
Yep, awesome. Way cool, way cool. Hey fans, you've seen it before. One of the reasons to join and subscribe to the How to Wrench channel. PropTech is doing it again. Just like their other tool videos we did on the introduction of this, they're doing a 10% off coupon. You'll find the discount link below. Hit them up on these links and get one of these tools for yourself.